Hi, beautiful people. Reverend Teresa Garcia here today. I have been a little MIA. I've been working on my audiobook for my up and coming memoir, The Making of a Warrior of Light, Conquering Pain to Claim Your Power. But I needed to hop on today because today is my mother's birthday, and she would have been 58. However, she died on her 42nd birthday in 2009. I wanted to just hop on because I know that, especially with the holidays, a lot of people are feeling a lot of grief. We lost millions of people during COVID, and every day someone loses their lives. So I know that many people are grieving, and what I know about myself is I hid this grief without knowing it unconsciously. And so a couple days ago, actually on Sunday, so 2 days ago, I was guided to visit this church that I don't normally attend. And so I visited online, and it was all about grief. And it dawned on me, one of the reasons I've probably felt so intense and so much overwhelm is because I've been grieving in silence. And so today I want to share a couple techniques that I've employed to grieve with joy. And so I have been crying all day long. I've also been smiling all day long. And I know that on the surface, that might look a little crazy. However, if we don't grieve, then we carry around this resentment and this grief and this heaviness in our vibration that holds us back in every aspect of our life and filters our perception so that we can't see what truly is, because we're masking ourselves so that we don't actually embody the truth of our being. And so it's really important to honor grief as it comes up. And so one of the things I've been doing is saying her name and talking about her. And I realized that I don't do this. And it's probably a myriad of reasons. One being I've lost all of my family. And so there's really, I don't feel like I have anyone to talk to that knows her, but that doesn't matter, right? I can talk about her with people that don't know her, and that's what I've been doing today. Another thing I did is I put on some 90s music, and that's because one of the most joyful memories I have of my mother is when we would put on our music and get ready for the day. I was always an early bird, and so I would be up at like 5 or 6, the crack of dawn every single day, and we would put on music, and it was in the 90s, and we would dance as we got ready and beautified. And so I did that, and yes, of course, those songs are gonna pull at the heartstring, right? And especially, being in this age that I'm in now and this level of consciousness where I'm actually conscious of the words of the songs, which before I would sing the song and I wouldn't think twice about what the words were. And now, one of the songs that I played, I don't remember the artist, but I love you always, forever, near or far, close or together, everywhere I will be with you. That was like her favorite song. And it speaks volumes to where we are right now. And, she's always with me. She's in my very DNA. She made me. So we share DNA, and that means that she is always linked to me energetically, spiritually, and physically. And so I'm going to listen to that song more often because it makes me think of her, and it brings really good memories. And even if it hurts, I'd rather look at that and feel that and express that and release that, opposed to holding it in and stuffing it down and hiding from that, right? So another thing I'm doing is I'm being naughty, and I got coffee cake, and that's because that was one of our favorite treats growing up. When we did have a treat, it was usually that coffee cake. And of course, with the cheese, cream cheese filling. And so I'm going to have that tonight. And I'm going to watch one of the movies that it's called Superstar. And my mom loved all comedy, right? And so that was one of the movies we used to watch together. And so I'm going to eat my coffee cake and watch my movie and just imagine that she's with me, because in reality, if it's our parents that we're grieving, right, or our grandparents, if we're in the same lineage, then they are with us, again, in that DNA. And so I'm just going to hold that feeling and, feel whatever comes through. I might journal tonight. I might not. I'm just going to do whatever feels good in the moment and honor her. And so I wanted to share how I'm grieving with you, because I want to invite you to face whatever it is that hurts, because the more we face it, the less we are triggered, right? The less we are wounded, the more we embrace it, the more power we have in our every single day lives. And so what most people don't realize is one of the biggest things that blocks us energetically, spiritually, metaphysically, is grief and resentment and judgment. And so I have to, when she first died, I wanted to say, this is unfair, this isn't right? Well, that is my judgment of the situation, forgetting the fact that our eternal creator is the only being that is qualified to decide when someone comes in this world and when someone leaves this world. So me judging it as, oh my God, she only lived 42 years, her life was too short, is basically me saying that I know more than our infinite creator, which I don't. And so I have to accept what is and trust that there is a higher power, a higher calling, a higher situation unfolding that I am just not conscious of. And so, one of my friends said something that was, honestly, I was a little shocked, right? But it was so on point with truth that I had to thank her and commend her courage for speaking up on my mother's post. And she said, maybe this is the best way that she could help you. Maybe she's doing something on the other side to support you that you're unaware of. And what I said was, wow, that's courageous, because, most people just try to sympathize, right? And that higher view of truth is everything happens for a reason, right? And we might not be conscious of that reason. We might not be in alignment or agreement with the decision, but there is only one decider, and that is the eternal creator, our God, Yahweh, okay? And if it's Yahweh's will, thy will, not mine, thy will, not mine. And so I have to honor it. I have to accept it. I have to embrace it. And I can choose to let it deflate me, or I can choose to find joy despite the pain, despite the appearances, right? And so that's what I'm choosing to do. And I invite you to do the same, because at the end of the day, when we choose to embrace it and we love God regardless of our three-dimensional circumstances or experiences, that is true love. It's easy to love all of creation or infinite creator when things are going easy, but the true testament to our love is, can we still love and appreciate our architect, right, when things don't go our way? Or is it only about our will, right? It is not about my will. Even when my small self wants to tell me, oh, it's unfair, you're alone on the holidays, da 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 da, what I tell myself is, I am being molded and redesigned and made anew. And I'm glad that everything is out of my life, because I needed it to be this way, so that I could expand in the ways that I'm expanding. And so I try to give grace, and as much as I can, even though it's hard, it's not easy. It's a constant reprogramming, a constant re-identifying with what is, and it takes effort, but the effort is worth it. And you're going to be able to see in my own life and in yours, if you choose to experiment with this, exactly how freeing it is to face our fears, to face grief, and to know that we are always all one. And so even, of course it's my mother's birthday, but once you start grieving for one person, all the other people you start thinking about that you're grieving for. And so my fiance came to mind that passed away 6 months before my mom, and my sister and my grandpa and my dad, and all these people came to mind. And I just decided today that I'm going to honor them. I'm going to find something to do that's fun, that makes me think of them on their birthdays, on their death days. And I'm done with the pity and the guilt and the shoulda, woulda, couldas, right? Because that is dishonoring to myself. And I choose to honor myself, whether I'm grieving, whether I'm full of joy, whether I'm angry, whether I'm any emotion. I'm going to honor myself and choose the highest point of view, because I am here to ascend, and I'm done playing small, and I'm done belittling myself and all of those things. And those are things that come along with grief, because so many people wish they would have spent more time. They wish they would have said this. They would have forgiven this, or, all the things that come along with losing someone in a instantaneous, or even when they've been sick for a little while. My mother was sick for a while, but unfortunately, I had no idea how severe it was. She had told me her stomach hurt my whole life. She was in pain my whole life. And so I didn't take it as seriously as I could have. And, but I was also grieving my fiance that passed away, and he passed away while drinking and driving on his way to pick me up. And so, as you can imagine, I took on a lot of grief for that. And quite frankly, I made that up. He was supposed to pick me up. I don't know if he was actually coming to pick me up. There was many times where he, got distracted. And so in that, I was leaving work, and in that moment, I went to a party thinking he would be there, and he just never showed. And so he could have been coming to pick me up, but I assumed that responsibility. I assumed it was my fault just because that's what I was thinking. I was in that stinking thinking realm where most people are when they lose someone that they love, or they lose multiple people that they love. And so I invite you to question, if you've got any shame or blame or judgment around yourself, question it. And, I would invite you to release it, because I truly believe that the only being on this, in creation, that decides when someone lives, comes to life, and when they die is the Creator. And whether we handled it the way that we wish we could have or not, we did what we did, and we are where we are, and we have to accept it and release the judgment that keeps us small, that keeps us disempowered, that keeps us sick, that keeps us inflamed, and that keeps us distracted from our true potentiality, which is, dun dun dun, divine unlimited power. We cannot be in judgment and shame with ourselves and honor the divine vessel that we are. It's just not compatible. We're either honoring ourselves or we're not. And so we have to extend the same level of forgiveness that we give to others, to ourselves. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great day.